MS is looking to attack with a Winston Goats composition here, Global Esports. There's going to be Faith scouting on the Sombra to start things out with. I think for them, they can very comfortably go for a Ryan Goats offense here once they see it is going to be in Winston defense. Luke's already on the Ryan. Faith's going to confirm it. They're going to roll out.
Usually does take them quite a while to spot it and confirm it. But it's not too much time lost in the grand scheme of things.
It's about as quick as you can expect. I mean, one player goes to check, everyone else is already in position. Faith now just catching up and immediately pushing through it. Ting cannot contest this high ground whatsoever, just has to back off.
Just going to try his darndest, maybe see if they can get some extra damage in. They got some good earlier damage onto Luke, but oh, what on
Did you say damage?
Earth? Yeah, that's damage now. Coming in big time in the favor of Global Esports, so Nova MS just end up going kind of belly up on this defense. That's a heartbreaker.
Ting shouldn't even try and come up. He should accept his losses here, jump off the map. Xeon Flux, by the way, fragging out his counterpart in 77. Entry fragger, you'll call him. Global Esports just walk in, guns blazing, like a hit squad. 2 members go down straight away.
Pop, pop.
That's a very quick cap.
And it's a shame because aside from that, a Ting was doing a lot to charge up Primal Rage that could have given them
He
a
should have
nice
swapped.
early advantage. And exactly, now you see feels like maybe he's in too deep with charging up that ultimate. Oh, I like this rotation from Nova MS.
This would have been the best time for him to go back onto Orion because he would have been somewhat matching Luke here, but you're right, he's really buying into playing on the Winston, using the Primal Range, getting aggressive.
This is a funky rotation from Nova MS, and I liked it to begin with because it got between Global Esports, who suddenly have to dive back for the cut, kind of takes the priority away from them. Grav now coming out from Mui, so Nova MS have found a way to balance a fight here with the card having not made all that much progress.
I'll tell you what, this has been a pretty phenomenal fight victory considering what happened last time, and for Global Esports, you probably would have expected them to come out more ahead considering how dominant they were. They have the ultimates to use. They've now, rotated out of the spawn doors. Shadow's coming up online, which means a team being on this Winston should get punished pretty big now.
Oh, Shiloh goes down though, but too much forward pressure coming in, and this is where Nova MS have a hard time.
The free Shadow.
It's not like they can just pull back all that easily. By the time you win the fight there, you're kind of all in on the position, and at that point, they didn't have the ultimates anymore to back it up.
And this is where, Shadow's gone down, 4 more ultimates still available. Ting's finally onto the Ryan. This is the second best time to be swapping because both Ryans are now fully reset at the exact same time. A Ting now can actually compete. You have Red Fox and Inen slowly creeping up in terms of getting double support ultimates, but you still have to contest with everything else that Global Esports have, which is a lot.
That's the thing. The Ryans reset at the same time. They're relatively even. You cannot say the same.
Oh,
Rest,
nice.
Oh, that's nicely done. Red Fox is close to sound barrier of her own, but not just yet. Self-destruct layered forwards. And suddenly everything is thrown down on the table. Nova MS, though, caught in a massive grab from Kim Yute, and unfortunately, with no real tools to defend against it, and just shy of a Transcendence. That's going to be the beat cap for Global Esports.
And that's going to be a 2-part whoopsies there for Nova MS, where unfortunately for them, Faith pushes them all to the ground, forces their positioning. They would have liked to have maintained high ground potential, drop on top of the defending team, and just brawl them out in that kind of position. But then secondarily, they have the self-destruct, which they try to initiate with. Everyone just hides on the Global Esports side. Then they come in with their own grab. And this is just them cashing in on previously built ultimates from A.
This is the thing. It's all just been a great big tempo push for Global Esports, even with that one fight on A.
Wow.
Over MS. That's a huge Shadow just kind of slipped through the cracks. They get rescued by Enen's Transcendence, but that's now a Transcendence not available later on in the fight.
See Mui now, he's got a grab coming online soon. Xeon Flux will be holding this Transcendence to counter that one, and for Global Esports still have a lot of momentum walking in.
They got to get something out of this grab, should say the least. There's going to be the Transcendence as predicted to answer it. Can they find really anything here, struggling to make any headway in the defense?
Double rally coming on through. Kim Yute, if he lives long enough, will have his own Graviton Surge, and then still reasonably far away. Might get the Transcendence in time. In fact, probably will.
It's actually quite incredible when you consider that it was used. I said wouldn't have it later in the fight, and I've been proven sorely wrong. And that's
Big
a
shatter.
huge shatter from Luke, though, as a Ting is periodically disabled. And that's going to open the door, indeed, the floodgates for Global Esports to push all the way to the terminus. Yeah, you got no choice. It's either that or just let it go. And, well, these guys aren't fans of the movie Frozen, I suppose. Going to try and come out with the resets, but they're not really going to have the kill potential here unless Enen finds some picks. It's going to be hard to do that through the sound barrier, and it feels like it is all over but the crying.
Now this has just been one prolonged fight. Innen's going to try his best here, but he's going to get caught up in a grab, and that's going to be the final push.
And there it is, with the Transcendence from Xeon Flux, just in case things really started to go haywire. And that is absolutely phenomenal from Global Esports, almost completely unstopped.
One fight is what they lost. The single one at the start of B where you see this big rotation coming through from Nova MS, Global Esports, didn't quite read it in time, get kind of caught in between all of this mess, dropped their members pretty quickly, didn't have enough ultimates. They were at about 90 or high 80s, so maybe if the fight went a little bit longer, they would have had that advantage. But once they came through, once they won that next fight, pushed through B, pushed through C, unstoppable the whole way.
So, Nova MS. They've got a lot to answer for here, to say the least. They need to get a pretty incredible offense. They need to be able to take this to as close to an even time bank as possible if they really want a hope of not just seeing this series ultimately go the way of Global Esports.
Right, so this is where you see Xeon Flux instantly get a kill on Innen, who's somewhat low here, goes down, Red Fox to follow, double supports.
Yeah.
That's already enough. If that's all you get, the rest of the other 4 members can't do much after that. You can maybe rely on some respawn advantages for the defenders. Innen is just completely fragged. Look at that angle from Xeon Flux was great.
Here's the thing, right? Look, the kill on Innen is just, it's a great frag. It's kind of a lucky pick in a way, but it is also just good play from Xeon Flux. Red Fox was a little bit late on the rotation down, was still in range of, it wasn't actually just the Brigida, it was also the Zarya was able to land some damage beforehand. So between those two, it was honestly unrecoverable so far.
This is the difference between having a Ryan and a Winston, where your Winston, okay, you can apply some high ground pressure, but there's no defense. So yeah, if Innen is just standing there in the open, which your members are going to be because there's nowhere else to be, you're going to get picked out by damage coming through from the other side. So lucky, I don't know. I think that's pretty skillful. Nova MS now. Get what Nuns can maybe do this Sombra. Xenofly going to match that one. Global Esports starting out with the Winston defense. Again, both teams very much paying respect to the possibility of DPS coming through, but that just means the attackers, I was about to say the offenders, we'll see how offensive it gets. Ryan start, it's going to be strong.
It is a slightly different beast with the Sombras in play here for the Reinhardt, but on balance it should still be early advantage. But it's an absolutely gross spider grenade. They just have to sit tight, wait for it to wear off.
We have to see what Luke can do because, you know, a team couldn't get too much done here. Luke stunned up.
Ooh, dangerous territory, but he is going to be able to back out. Not for long, though, so tripping over his own feet as he walks backwards. Innen goes down in a counter trade, but it's certainly not a counter trade of even parts. And now Nova MS just sitting pretty on the point. Global Esports are going to have to start getting some boots on the ground if they don't want to just let this go over.
Global Esports still got members, I guess, coming back, but slowly. I mean, they still are at a deficit. Ultimates are going to come online pretty soon for Nova MS if Global Esports don't clean this one up.
Oh, that's a hack on Fake. That's a really brutal one as well. Going to go down before he can get back behind Luke's shield. And speaking of Luke, already taking pressure and going down for a second time. And that's the thing. You do it, the respawners coming in, but at the end of the day, you got to keep pressure on the point, otherwise it caps before the respawners arrive, and it just wasn't a balancing act Global Esports to pull off.
So Nova MS need a quick push like this, that speed push onto A, or slow down a little bit by the 4-man Byron A from Xeon Flux, but outside of that, Nova MS got so much work done, and they need to keep up this pace if they want to match this 257 time bank, which is a very good time bank for any attacker. EMP is available, EMP nearly available to Xeon Flux, but no defense on either side, so the first EMP that lands well is going to win a fight.
Nuns was looking for a bit of a position, went for a manual hack on Kim Yute, but quick fingers from Kim Yute, but there's going to be the EMP plus the Earth Shatter. Nice combination laid out there. Xenofly has no chance to use his own, unsurprisingly. And that's the sort of momentum they need. They may not still get this B cap just yet.
And that's because the cart hasn't moved quite enough. You can see even now Xeon Flux just delaying that movement over. Yes, he'll respawn later, but Global Esports, the other 5 will be there in time to contest yet again on B. So in some ways, yes, A was quite successful, but B is going to cost a couple pushes now for Nova MS when EMP is suddenly available for them. Nova don't quite have good defense. Sound barrier not there yet. They have to rely on Rally and Nano.
Oh, that's a bit of a rough one. Luke
they can't use either
out of it thanks to the Zarya bubble, but yes, that EMP from Xenofly is the real playmaker of this. Mui still looking for the grab, decides to commit it. There is no immediate defensive response from Global Esports aside from their own grab, and they end up getting value out of it. And that's a lot also committed for Nova MS, unfortunately, not just the grab, but also the nano boost. Global Esports winning this defense will probably end up being the difference maker in this map.
And they needed to make sure both Rally and Nano Boost got put into that fight. Otherwise, they were not going to have a chance of winning. Double Graviton Surge, the later one from Kim Gyu-tae, far more successful for Global Esports. And this is the only fight that Nova MS are about to lose, because you have to look at tempo here. You have to look at what pace has been set. Global Esports on their offense lost one fight and won every other single one. So Nova, they're allowed to lose one, and then they have to win every other single one.
That's a nice manual hack on a Ting, but he's still more than happy to apply the forward pressure. They find Luke out. Global Esports might not be getting this additional defense. That's a little unfortunate. They'd kind of built themselves up to be able to. They were coming close to a shadow. They had both support ultimates. Nova MS did have to commit a sound barrier just for safety's sake, but it's successful in the end.
I'm going to be really honest. This stalling by Faith and Xeon Flux consistently, somebody's always stopping the cart. This is going to pay off in the long run, because it is a game where you do need to delay as much as possible. And for Global Esports to so often stop this cart from moving, they weren't stopped themselves when they were pushing. This never happened. So they're going to just make up for so many extra fights by members putting bodies on the payload.
Again, manual hack this time out onto Faith. It might have been an opportunity for an EMP. In fact, it still is. They go ahead and commit to it, but the sound barrier is still able to come out just because of the delay between the manual hack and the EMP. Charge forward onto Luke isn't enough to kill him, but EMP's big on him, and the counter EMP, like you say, from Xenofly, far more effective than what Nuns was able to accomplish, and suddenly the wind has been taken right out the sails of Nova MS.
And all you got to do is look at the timer to be told here, okay, there was about 20 seconds remaining. If Nova win that fight in the next 20 seconds, they cap. Good news, you're now going to have a 2:57 time bank just like the other team. However, 2:57 is just around the corner now, a few more seconds to go. Global Esports have won 2 defensive fights now. You know for sure that Nova MS are not going to be able to compete in terms of actually getting a time in the time bank.
And like we said, that's the difference maker. It's so hard to match up to the offense that Global Esports got. And even then, Nova MS came kind of close, but this looks like finally one of these teams is starting to edge out the other. Shadow does find Redbox. Nice bump forward there. They can't quite follow up. It's the grab to come in, and they find Little Rax. Now, Luke taking pressure, goes down. Nova MS, the shoe gets back on the other foot. Even when Global Esports win a fight that look like they have an advantage for the subsequent one, that seems to be when Nova MS just come in firing on all cylinders.
So there's 2 things that Nova MS need to be worried about right now. First is Kim Gyu-tae will have a Graviton Surge, and there is no good defense. The second is they need to make sure this EMP is effective during it. Oh, never mind. All of that talk for nothing.
We have a Charlie Niner here.
Yeah, I guess. Hard to argue with that one. I mean, I'm going to be, to be fair, that would be more of a case where you've already contested the cart and then everyone walks off, where no one gets there in time. I don't know, maybe it's a bit
It felt like someone could have.
I'll be honest, this could have been still to me a 50-50 fight, because Global Esports still had a grab that could do so much. An EMP on the side of Nova MS, yeah, that can do a lot as well. But then you have to contest with the fact that there is a respawn advantage for the defenders. And okay, this is a decent start. A team finally lands something. I believe they do win this one eventually.
No, this is the one they lose, actually. This is the one where they don't kill Luke because he's got the nano boost on him. And look at that, Little Rake's coming in. It's like, you think you've managed to catch someone, but then his buddy is right behind you.
So by the way, this is what it should look like the previous fight on B, where Xeon Flux, he pops the nano boost onto his Ryan, which is what should have happened if Inan didn't get hit by the EMP, and he pops the nano boost onto a Ting, who then pressures backline, and then you have a Ryan who's thinking, okay, I can shatter their backline and trade, or do I want to defend my backline and go for this nanoed Ryan, which is a Ting in this case, went for that play. I still got to say, to finish up earlier, I mean, that C fight where you have Global Esports giving the point away, I think that should have been another minute off the clock. So in some case, Nova MS, this time I will say it was like they managed to get themselves an extra 1 minute in the time bank.
It could be all the difference. Look, it's still a favorable time bank for Global Esports, but not by too much. Certainly surmountable, especially if Nova MS can get off to some early success. The sleep on Luke is a nice one. They look to follow it up. There ends up being body blocked, the charge by Xenofly, but they still end up killing Luke, and they'll get Xenofly. Double your fun.
This looks like it's going to be a cap already. I mean, that's 2 main tanks down. Faith is hacked.
Lil Rags is dead. There's not much that Global Esports can do. They've already made the swap onto Ryan. They know that they just need to start matching Nova MS. It's close to 1-to-1 as they want to do. I think they want to stick with the Diva over the Sombra, but aside from that, Reinhardt's a must.
I tell you what, I mean, this defense on A has been completely thrown out the window for both sides, and that's because you cannot afford to run a Rein when the threat of DPS on the other side, especially Fire, comes out. So you have to run a Winston. But if you run a Winston, the attackers run a Rein. It feels like no matter what you do on A defense in this current meta, you're probably going to lose. What happens on B is the big factor. How much do the attackers get to snowball now? What kind of defense gets set up? Because if you look at regulation time, Global Esports had a better overall defense on B and C than Nova did.
But here's the thing, Nova MS, that's a bit of a overly ambitious shatter, shall we say, but...
None has to live.
Yeah, that's the thing. They could have actually just held out for the EMP to come in, but they get a grab. It stops up Luke, at least, who had received the nano boost, so there's not that playmaking potential to come out from Global Esports. Otherwise, they could have got a lot done. We've seen how much work Luke does when he's juiced up on that nano boost. Now it's going to be a clean up here for Nova MS. And they've got an EMP for the next fight.
And the discipline for Global Esports, once again, got to congratulate them every time, even if they're about to lose. They body on this card just to stop the timer. Because we're into time bank and in about 15 seconds, overtime kicks in, Global Esports can set themselves up for a really nice hold. However, they must survive the EMP, and that is easier said than done.
I mean, you barely even want to say it at all. You don't want to jinx it for Global Esports because it is still doable.
They're trying to bait the EMP with one player.
There it is, the EMP just comes straight on out and it still finds 4. Shatter in as well from Eting. They need to get the kills though while this is happening, otherwise Global Esports could turn this fight on its head. They found Luke, but Kim Yute's got a grab. There's no immediate answer for Nova MS, who lose in and now self-destruct from Xenofly. And I said you had to clean up fast from the EMP, but Nova MS, they do not clean their room and now they're going to be sent straight to bed without dinner. It could be Global Esports map for the taking.
Got a little bit too much info about your childhood there, but at the same time, Nova MS, that was a rough fight to watch.
Look, I'm still processing it. Okay.
They had so much going for them. How many times do we walk into a fight where you're thinking, looks pretty good for Nova MS here? At least this time around, it's a little bit more 50-50. Was about to criticize Kim Yute for dropping a grab, thinking that would have been pretty nice for them to hold on to see. However, this time around, ends up working. Self-destruct catches too. You're thinking, okay, a team probably blocks this one. Doesn't happen. Just is so unfortunate for them.
I love that from Inan, by the way, just like going that aggressively. Funnily enough, Xeon Flux actually landed the biotic grenade first there.
Oh, the sleep is nice.
I mean, everything was nice here for Nova MS. Just unfortunately, I mean, they'd set themselves up so nicely. They won the first fight on A. They were in a position where they could have won the next fight, but they just didn't quite manage it.
You ready for a paradigm shift? Nova
Yes.
MS is like, let's play Ryan on defense, find out what happens. I want to know if Global Esports are going to use this opportunity to bring out DPSs, because
Got it right.
This is why teams stop running Ryan on, especially this defense, because of the threat of DPS. If Global Esports do not go in that direction and try and match Ryan versus Ryan, I think that's a big win for Nova MS, because matchup is very important. And Nova MS get a good matchup if Global Esports shake the gentleman's hand agreement.
And look, Global Esports aren't scouting either. By the time they find this out, they're going to have moved all the way onto the point. Maybe they even take an early fight just in case. And if they lose that, that's
Checking the hand.
Swap, but
might as well kiss the hand at this rate.
Yeah, take the ring. Luke takes a stun. Stays alive, but he's taken chunks. Might not stay alive much longer at this rate. Has to really play carefully here, but now it's a Ting receiving the pressure. Oh, nice charge, and the bubble's going to expire long before there is any amount of safety.
Ting's out of position, though.
Xenofly is also out of position, so maybe call it a 1-for-1 as Xenofly D-Max. That's the shatter, early shatter from a Ting, and, well, they'll take that hand, they'll pick you up and yeet you over your shoulder.
That was pretty risky. Honestly, not a fan of the long-range charge there. You can see, okay, it cost the life of one of their members to do so, but they have won the first fight on defense. Eventually, Global Esports will be forced to reset here. Let's go back to pacing again. Pacing, very important. Okay, very cute. Faith is going to stay alive, at least for the time being, and that's still a maybe. But Global Esports have not been able to take A in one push, and they don't have a lot of time to work with. Nova MS did take A in one push, and they made it pretty much all the way through B.
That's the thing. At this point, Global Esports are quite possibly going to have less time to work with than Nova MS if they cap this point on this push. That is, and already that's in contention with a huge 4-man biotic grenade, and a Ting already well poised to take advantage of it. Has nearly charged up another shatter, having used one in the fight just before that. And it's starting to look dire for Global Esports.
I'll tell you who's not interested in shaking any hands. Just in on the Ana saying, it's not going to be a Zen 1v1 here. I'm playing my best hero. You can play your best hero. But when I'm on Ana, things are going to happen. Bio nades are going to land, sleep darts are going to land, and kills are going to come through. And Nova in such a good position now. It's almost too late for Global Esports to even consider changing onto Afara. You have so many ultimates available for Nova, including an EMP. This has to be a fight they win. Said that a lot before, but this they've really got to win.
Ooh, it's nicely baited. It only finds 2, but again, a biotic grenade means Faith does not benefit from Zero.
Spoke too soon.
However, a ting in too deep. Kim Yute's grab, it's only going to get Shailin, but that's a numbers advantage for Global Esports as they rotate onto the point, and the rest of Nova MS find themselves sitting ducks. And why do we even talk?
Every time I say, look, Nova MS are expected to win here, they have all the advantages there. They need to win because this would have been, okay, they could have held A.
They keep hearing you and they're like, oh, I'll show that arrogant analyst.
What do you mean? They're supposed to... They'll show me what? They'll lose instead? Great.
Oh, that's a shatter, though. That's a decent one out from a ting. It's enough to find Kim Yute. And remember, we're not far from overtime as it is. So actually, Global Esports have to stick on this card as they keep respawning. The gates are right there, but if they don't get to it, if Nova MS can stand in front of the base doors, keep these members bottled up until overtime runs down, they might just be able to end this here and now. And that's to say nothing of the continued kills they are getting. Luke finds nothing with the Earth Shatter. They're still getting these respawn members. That Shatter does go right through the shield, but they charge it back into the base. I can't believe this is working for Nova MS. They're still getting the kills. They demech Xenofly, they throw the EMP down, and eventually the time bank, the overtime will disappear so fast that Global Esports won't get a chance to get onto the cart, even in that shorter distance, if Nova MS keep getting these kills. And for goodness sake, they are.
There's literally enemy at the gate right now, and eventually, look, Global Esports just do not have the respawners when it's in overtime, and it just takes so long. And I'll be honest, look, Nova MS, they might have entered that A defense, but when it came to respawning in B, they still had the ultimate, so the opportunities were there. If they kept on losing from that point onwards, there's no coming back. At that stage, you definitely deserve to lose the series. Because
I know.
It's been like 3 maps where they've had multiple points where they are so far ahead, you're like, they probably should win here. Can't really see them losing on this. They really do something silly, and unfortunately, all 3 times, they love their silliness.
This is what's so absolutely incredible about that, right? It's like just before that, we're talking about Nova MS losing fights they should win, and then they end up pulling off what is not only the most risky play of this series so far, but also the most incredible, the most impressive. It just boggles the mind, and suddenly we're tied up.
I mean, it's only if you're talking about the final fight on the card in overtime, right, for Time Bank.
I am.
It's only really incredible because they had to recover from what was such a botched fight in the first place. Because again, they kept all their ultimates because they lost so quickly.
You got to gamble big, right?
I'm just saying they should have just won on A. That would have been better.
Just win on A, 4-head.
Just that, literally. Yeah. In this case, 3-head because it was so easy, and they couldn't do it. What they can do is still win the map either case. It's a one.
Shout out to the error message between us. By
the way. 1-to-1.
Sorry, I'm sorry. I made you lose your train of thought.
1-to-1 completion there.
I'll help you out of that one.
And now you have a real draw where we go to Rialto and we don't actually know what's going to happen. Both teams are at match point.
I say that you can tie on Escort. That is like technically it's still there. Okay. Sorry, your face isn't quite that wide, but you can technically draw there. But it's not really possible. You've got the 4-head. It's not really possible. Like, it doesn't actually happen. How many numbers? Just full 6, 7, 8. Like, how tall does this head go? At what point do you just become Mega Minds? But let's talk about Overwatch, because Escort is a map where you see a winner. You don't see draws realistically, even though it's technically possible. And that, to me, says we don't actually end up going to our map 5 here because of that earlier draw. And
being struck by a meteor is technically possible, but it's only happened to this planet once.
We've actually been struck by a lot of meteors. There was just the one that was particularly dangerous.
World-ending, I will say then.
Well, I mean, okay, look, hold on. Let me explain you a thing. Because we have been struck by meteors before the dinosaurs, which is actually an asteroid, but that's beside the point. We've been struck by asteroids before that. It's just, there wasn't as much life to knock out. You know,
just missing my point.
Got hit by a lot of them early on. That's what the moon is actually.
The moon was just a lot of
hit by another big
things anyway.
We lost a chunk of stuff, and that became the moon, and now we got that.
Second.
Now we got the tides.
Map 4. is
Werewolves.
still going to be really interesting. I don't know. Like Rialto is
in Italy. It's also a cinema chain over here, actually. It's a famous bridge.
I also want to draw attention to score lines because you got 1, 2, 3, 3, and a 5, 4. That would actually put every team. Is the math correct on here? It is. It's 9 points apiece so far, so it is that close. That I think on Rialto, it's going to be tough. I think is going to tell you a lot because we talk about flexibility of both teams and how many DPSs that we've seen so far. Even though I think if you're really going to put it to the test, Nova MS have been the team that's still far more willing to bring out the DPS than, say, Global Esports are. And a big part of... This is still the thing that really both is interesting and in some ways slightly bothers me is the fact that we go to that final time back on Numbani and Nova's like, we can take the preferential matchup here with Ryan if the attacking team, Global Esports, wants to match it. And that's exactly what they do. I feel like at that point, they did play into that matchup, which was favored then, unfortunately, for Global Esports toward the Nova MS side. I wonder going to Rialto if you're going to get those type of matchups again, because very likely you're going to see some DPS on attack, which means dangerous to run the ride on defense. Does someone just try and do it anyway, just to see if the other team will bite?
And here's the thing, at the end of the day, it feels like actually the map going the way of Nova MS was down more to that than anything else. I feel like if it hadn't been for that, we would have again seen a close map, and it still could have gone either way. We might have still got here to Rialto, but the net effect of all this is we go on to Rialto, and like even though Nova MS won the hybrid, we still don't necessarily feel that they're inherently favored going on to Rialto like we normally might when a team wins the hybrid map. So at this point, it's like, how many maps deep in the series can we go and still say we have no idea who's going to win?
You can't go to 5 anymore, so...
You can, but we're not.
Again, realistically, no.
Realistically, we are not.
So you go to 4, and because it's so close, it's been so close the entire way, it does still feel like a coin flip. You could have, in fact, you couldn't because that would ruin the point. If you had, if Numbani wasn't as close, then you'd start to favor the team that was slightly further ahead.
Exactly.
But at this point, I don't know who's slightly further ahead. It's really hard to tell.
The real winners here are the viewers. I'm always a fan of the robot puns that they pepper around these maps. Like whenever there's like a famous movie or something, or like in Hollywood they got like Some Like It Bot, and here they've got Bots.
By the way, there's one thing I forgot to mention, and that is Nova can just still lose if Mui just decides to play Torb. So he's done that a lot. I mean, that's one way they just. I forfeit it. Just leave the server at that rate.
Just
avoid player at that rate. I don't know, man.
Yep, GG easy. Or he could play Bastion. Who knows what he's going to play?
Is there going to be pirate shipping there? They got the benefit of attacking, right? So they
here we go.
The defenders.
Do what you want because a pirate is free. You are a pirate. We're not going to do it? All right. We practiced this. Come on. But they are going to hoist a black flag. Apparently that actually meant that if you surrendered, they would let you live. I think it was a red flag meant they would kill everyone.
There's no mercy in this game. I mean, that's actually 2, but Global Esports showing none of that because this is going to be a very quick cleanup. There's not going to be a Bastion on offense anymore because as soon as the reset happens, you've lost card control. Worst of all, you've started to build some sort of ultimates. You've started to build some sort of ultimates already, and now you got to think about, well, which one of these are you going to lose, which is now 5 out of 6 of them. That really hurts.
I do like the leaning into the DPSs, but as we say, there is a bit of a deficit to make up.
That was a huge risk and did not pay off at all.
It's the problem. It's like hoisting up the flags. It's, the pirate kind of telegraphs what they're going to do. It's like, why bother? Why not just lie? Don't put up a flag.
It's going to be another kill. I don't think you can raise that one. That looked like an environmental to me. So Nova MS lose a bit more time, and Kim Kute is pretty confident right now. He had the infra side up available, so he just saw everything. Tried to go for a shot at Red Fox.
This is the sort of defense that can really be a difference maker in the long run. I mean, we could see Nova MS pull off a similar defense at this particular point, but now about 2 minutes already off the clock, and Nova MS are barely starting to get in position to start taking a fight now.
So much time. You can imagine Global Esports on their own offense would probably already have a decent amount of distance by now. Mui just can't find the shots so far. He's been pressured out, and the worst possible time to not be finding shots when you're on map 4, match point, so important to win.
And you can get such tasty firing lines as an attacking Widowmaker here, but they're having a hard time doing that. Kim Yute is making sure of that. Now Lil Rake's giving the pressure on as well, and suddenly it's like the floodgates open.
And by the way, this is something Lil Rakes does a lot. You see him on multiple other maps. He just goes for the Widowmaker player. And when that happens, Kim Yute can stand where he wants to, shoot Xiaolin with impunity, and Nova MS can't do a damn thing about it.
You just sort of force the Widowmaker into a spot where they're not really safe, they're not really protected, and the Barra is relatively safe if they go for the head-to-head. But speaking of head-to-head,
it's 2 for 1.
It is, but Mui at least finds his counterpart, and this is closer respawn still for Nova MS, so they can start eking out a lead here.
Oh, it's 2 for 2 now with the respawn advantage, so now they'll take the trade for sure, but Nova MS still going to make something of this.
Global Esports have so many ultimates on the table, and you see that now in the Nano Boost Rocket Barrage that collects both supports, and suddenly, just as things were looking even for Nova MS with the closer respawns, suddenly they look massively in favor of Global Esports.
You know how painful this would be if for 3 maps in a row it's been completely neck-to-neck, a photo finish each time, and you got a Rialto, and Global Esports just completely wiped the floor. Nova MS don't even look like they're here. That's kind of what's happening. Shailen's thinking, all right, maybe go Tracer now. Red Fox on the Lucio. Nova have kind of given up on the Pharah.
At what point does Mui just play the Torbjorn and he's just like, gonna lose anyway, might as well enjoy
That would be pretty BM.
What if he wins with it? That's already a death on Xiaolin, that's a huge EMP as well. Nothing Nova MS could do about it. No sound barrier even if Red Fox wasn't hacked. And honestly, with 15 seconds, even with those close respawns, this might just be all she wrote.
It looks like a hold to me, unless something crazy happens. It'll be the one time where Nova MS and Opposite World win a fight where they're not supposed to. I'd love to see me that.
The one kill that was collected was just rezzed back up by Faith, and now Nova MS, they get the last try, the last chunk of respawns. Already losing Mui. The team still hacked out, has yet to get anything done, unfortunately goes down as well. Headshot on Red Fox, counter headshot on Kim Yute, but still favorable trades here for Global Esports.
Oh.
Even with Luke going down, there's just not enough presence left here for Nova MS.
Solo EMP on it in.
Mui's not even
shove it to
getting
him.
back to this cart. That is a dynamite hold.
And now Nova need a full hold to be able to win this.
Fullest of holds.
It would have to be, and very few mistakes. And again, put it to the test here. I'm pretty sure Global Esports in the same amount of time, 2 minutes, we barely saw any movement on the card. I'm pretty sure in 2 minutes, Global Esports can get a lot more done. Don't waste a lot of time trying to go for a pirate ship when you know there's some really decent flankers and DPS on the other side. Can you just take a side angle on the Widowmaker? Lil Rags can just play skybox there using geometry with the buildings as well. It's just so hard to take these DPSs down. You've got so many angles to deal with, and that's one thing that Bastion and Bunker can't deal with is multi-angle. They want one firing line where everyone just walks up to them like, I don't know, it's going to make a wartime reference, but...
Just felt a bit too brutal, didn't it?
Yeah, it did.
It's like, oh.
Ready for battle.
Moment of
Now I'm just thinking about it. Now I'm just thinking about it. It's
I'm just sad now.
That's brutal as
I
hell.
was having a great time before this. Jeez, man, what are you gonna do?
Same, because it was a close game before this.
Yep. I mean, frankly, it's Nova MS's fault.
I'll be honest, this could still be a close game.
It could.
If somehow
I would
Nova
like it
MS
to be.
push this into overtime, and then we don't know what happens from there.
I just don't
Somehow.
know anymore. And I feel like there is still this wacky world where that could
And Mui's playing a real hero, so they are trying. We confirmed that.
Because it feels like every time Nova MS let me down, they then immediately give me reason to believe. And I don't know, this should be the biggest one.
This
yet.
should be a good meta for Nova, by the way. Every team after seeing Shanghai Dragons win with Pharah Widow is playing Pharah Widow. And
Nova MS is like,
you got good Pharahs and good Widows here. I buy it. But the problem here is also Nova MS, Red Fox's Mercy is her best pick also. This should be a very good comp for Nova MS to win on. I like to see them do better on it.
They go, finally, Mui doesn't have to play Torbjorn anymore. But they haven't found the early picks that they really need. They need to be killing members of Global Esports as they walk out the gate. Instead, Kim Yute has started to find the better sightlines than his counterpart.
And let's look at it. At the 2-minute mark, where is the push for Global Esports? Yeah, right, Mui, what's he doing?
He's got nowhere good to stand. Stands in the courtyard. There's a flanker there in Xenofly. Stands two out in the open. There's Little Rack. Stands in the sightline of Kim Yute. Well, there's Kim Yute. What did Nova MS even do here to unlock
We're at 1 minute and the card is nearly at the finish line. This is ridiculous.
I mean, it's not exactly far to go, but finding some pressure onto Xenofly, this is the make or break point. If Nova MS can just hinge a defense on this corner in perpetuity, they could still do this.
Looking at ultimates as well, 70% for Nuns. That's a big kill. That's actually advantage. Now Nova can do something.
Oh, it's looking like there could be a counter trade. No, Mui's able to make it work, and Shilen finds Little Rakes. Not only are these important kills, this is also important ultimates that Nova MS can charge up just barely ahead of Global Esports.
And look, you say it's not a lot of distance to push, but guess what? It took Nova 4 minutes to get there.
Yeah,
Global Esports got there in 1. So Global Esports now, yes, it's a reset. It's about 2 minutes 30-ish remaining, 2:25 remaining. Wonder who dropped there, if anybody. Who knows? At this stage, Ultimate's pretty important. We do see EMPs about to come through. Nova kind of got a couple decent shots there. Mui finding his mark. I also want to say that defensive Widow definitely seems to be slightly stronger than offensive Widow in many cases because you have the pre-existing sightlines, whereas the offensive Widow has to try and find those sightlines to really fight for them. So Mui should be doing better here. Kim Kute did do better on his own defense. And now Nova MS, if they lean into the same thing, you'd expect them to have a good defense.
We'll also give Mui credit for staying alive in a particular position where he was under a lot of pressure from all three of the DPSs on Nova MS. Like, all at once, we're like, all right, now's the time. We're going to shut down Mui.
That's a good strat, by the way.
And it didn't end up working out for them. Just nicely handled, barely handled, if anything, by Nova MS. But because they were able to keep him alive, he's able to pay that one back with some kills, and they end up at least continuing to hold for now.
And that's the thing, because Lil Rax tries to hunt for Mui time and time again, but Nuns now has an EMP.
Red Fox.
Oh, that's such a big death.
That's absolutely brutal, and Shilen noticed it as he received the healing. As he moved back, he realized Red Fox's health bar was low. Nuns has got aggressive, but it was a very weak EMP that found Xenofly.
Has to carry.
They need a lot more than that. Enin commits the nano boost, but that's asleep onto the recipient in a Ting who goes down. It's all on Mui's shoulders now.
And Kim Kute and Lil Rax are hunting right now. They're trying to take down Mui, the last player that could do anything.
Straight on in, Red Fox trying to fly on the wings, but they are not going to be the wings of angels.
My goodness.
That's going to be it. It was likely to happen anyway, but for a moment there, man, you did believe in Nova MS. But when all is said and done, Global Esports, it turns out that winning Ilios was just enough to keep them ahead in the series until we got to that one critical point, the massive hold on Rialto. And I feel like that's almost the entire reason they won the series.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was a super botched offense. You can give credit to the defense. I think that's definitely deserved. But also at the same time, based on how Nova we're playing overall, look, we joke, not really joking, but we talk about Nova losing fights you're supposed to win. That's like one fight at a time. That's not like all fights in a row, which is what happened on Rialto. And yeah, there were certain times you kind of expected them to get a lot more done, and they kind of were at a deficit anyway because they went for a pirate ship gambit that definitely didn't pay off for them, and then after they were behind. But when you're behind, you can still catch up. Teams often do still catch up, and then once you do catch up and you remain in the lead, that's how you can still cap. That's how you can still do a lot here. It just is unfortunate that Nova lose here.
It is Global Esports lose Rialto is the net effect. And I do want to talk about something critical in this, by the way. Do the math on this. Look, you're Fari Society, you're rooting for Nova MS in this matchup, but at the end of the day, Global Esports win it, but only with a +1 on their map differential compared to the +2 that you just earned against Cyclone Coupling. I don't know if it keeps them ahead for this week, but it could be enough, depending on how next week goes for these two teams, to keep them ahead.
Based on my understanding, Fire Society is definitely still ahead right now because they got a +2. Global Esports got a +1, and Fire Society already had a 4-map lead to begin with.
There you go. Keeps them ahead of the curve, and
it's now, I believe, a 5-map lead. Should be a 5-map lead.
And I'll tell you what, I believe with that map lead, if both teams win next week, Fari Society stay ahead of the map differential.
By 1. That's incredible, actually, because otherwise it was even. The tiebreaker would have gone to head-to-head, and Global Esports would have taken it.
As soon as you have as soon as you have 4 maps over the person you're tied against, as you go into the next week. If they get a 4-0 and you get a 3-2, they get +4, you get +1, you still stay ahead by 1. So they're in the clear.
So
is the main point.
Assuming they beat Greenleafs.
Yes.
Because that could still be where they drop out of top 2, Global Esports then claim that top 2, who are now the biggest fans of Greenleafs, by the way.
Yeah. Just as Far East Society were the biggest fans of Nova for tonight, right? But I mean, that's the thing is, it feels like we're finally starting to get some